My final video for Steam Next Fest October 2022 is all about puzzle games. There were 7 demos I was able to download and play before other commitments took over and the Steam Next Fest ended, but all 7 were good games, so I wanted to highlight them just so that you could kind of take your pick and see what fancies for you. The first game up is called Quadrata, and the idea behind this is that you're moving like sliding puzzle blocks, but you're doing 2 at the same time, left-hand side of the screen and right, and they're not set up identically. And so what you're doing is shifting one block to get to one goal whilst keeping an eye on the other one and making sure that you don't end up in like an unwinnable situation. And what I quite liked during the demo was that it started to introduce like portals to send you off of one side of the screen to arrive on the other. And it was really doing my head in, but in a really good, engrossing way. What I didn't realise was that Quadrata then came out on Monday. So I've already bought it. It was £1.69, really easy, minimalistic style puzzle buy on Steam. I live for these kind of games, even though I'm terrible at them. And so expect a video review of this later on in the year. The second game on my list is Path of Ra. And this is a kind of swap the tile maze game. You play as Ra, who is trapped inside the pyramid trying to escape after he's been Tutankhamuned, and what you'll be doing is rearranging the blocks and the bricks of your level so that Ra can run and navigate on like autopilot from entry to exit. But through that you'll have like drops to get round, you'll have walls to rebound off of, and you'll need to make sure that you don't get stuck in a dead end or fall out of the bricks basically as you run across the walls of the pyramid to try and escape and get into the afterlife or back into the real life, I guess. I really like the way how you're given loads of ways to just swap tiles around. It's not like a shuffleboard thing. I can't stand those types of games. I really struggle with them. But this was kind of working out how to swap tiles around to build out your path as you go and then letting rip and seeing what happens. And there was plenty of different interesting gimmicks along the way too. So yeah, Path of Ra definitely staying on my wish list. Really well put together. Para Perspective is game number 3, and this is basically indie Echochrome. If you've ever played Echochrome on a PS3, it was a PS3 exclusive. The idea behind this is that it's all around like tilting your level around so that you can get false perspectives of things. So if there's gaps between 2 pieces of road that you want your character to walk across to reach the exit point, then you'll need to like place in perspective a block that covers up that gap, so therefore the gap no longer exists. The same about kind of joining paths together by rotating and manipulating things around. The puzzles were really, really tricky. My only downside with Para Perspective is that I found the controls and the way to kind of manipulate the camera around weren't fully 360 dimensional like I felt it should be. And so I found myself getting myself into awkward finicky situations where it wouldn't automatically like lock together and agree that I had joined things up, even though visually I felt like I had. And then you'd have to like shake it about a little bit and then it would go, oh, okay, I'm clicked up now. If it irons that out, this will be a great Echochrome for the masses. So that's why I wanted to keep that on this wish list. This next entry on the list is for all of those true crime detective fans that are out there and those that like watch things like the Behaviour Panel, where they go through and like real crime scene investigations and you're trying to work out who's telling the truth and not. And it's called Case Files: The Death of Paulette Williams. The idea behind this is that you're helping a real-time police investigation, and the tapes and the investigation is being played in one room and you're watching it through TVs and different cameras in the other with a collection of evidence in front of you. And so you're watching the 2 suspects that you've got, trying to work out whether or not you can do them for the death of Paulette Williams. But then you get to, in between each kind of scene, chat back and forth with the police officer doing the interrogation and kind of give them a steer on what kind of tact and direction they want to go in to see whether they can be your friend or crack them or try and pick up problems with their story by poring over the evidence. I really got invested in this, really well acted. I was sitting there trying to unpick things and being like, not sure about your story. So I can't wait for this to come out and I'll be grabbing it personally. It's out on the 26th of October, so not too long to wait. Switching gears again is something called the Forest Quartet, and I love the atmosphere of this game. It's a kind of narrative adventure puzzle experience where you play as a spirit of a vocalist of a jazz band in Scandinavia who's died. But your band could only kind of create music and feel comfortable in the forest and the forest hut that they lived in. So what you're doing is wandering around the forest, musically bringing the world back to life around you by solving various abstract puzzles and trying to set inspiration and creativity alive around you by turning on lights, setting off weird and wonderful contraptions. And as you're doing this, there's a conversation going on in the background of your bandmates who are alive and well, talking about how they founded the band, how they all kind of gelled together, what drove their creative passions. It's really unique. I think this might be quite niche for some people, but as someone that lives and breathes music alongside games, this is like two worlds for me colliding. And I just loved the abstract expressionism. Get your teeth in, Smithy. So that you can just kind of sink into that artistic side of puzzle creation. So yeah, this is a definite win for me. The sixth game in this list is also a little bit musical, and it's called Backbeat, but I have real trouble describing this game succinctly. The idea is that you're controlling several bandmates who are all forming a band together, but each of the levels is for you moving these characters from A to B, like from band practice room to their chill out room, so that they can then continue what is a very story-rich puzzle game. But each of the characters have different move sets and different ways of moving, and what you're trying to do is to put them into different positions, either bouncing off of walls or trying to line them up to get through door frames, and they're all going to then move together in real time. So you have to make sure that they don't catch each other out and cross over at the wrong time. You have to make sure that they're not going to hit various obstacles, because there'll be other people in a corridor that they might run into and all of that kind of stuff. And once you've lined them all up and they're all going to arrive at this final destination for the level, you press play and it all kind of rewinds back on cassette, and then it all plays through like a VHS tape. It's really cool, quite unique, and I guess it's a little bit like a real-time strategy Sokoban musical chess. I don't know, that's the best way I can describe it. Hopefully the gameplay on the screen will make my words make sense, because I don't think I am. But yeah, I was really intrigued by this. It's staying on my wish list, and it's a little bit odd. So hopefully those of you that like weird things will like Backbeat. The final game on this list is really more of a strategy game than it is a puzzle game, but I only had the one and I didn't know where to put it. And it's called King's Dilemma Chronicles. The idea behind this is that you're a king who's constantly be given various different choices for you to decide how to lead your country. The problem with this is that your country is pretty much landlocked on a ginormous island with loads and loads of other countries that are all politically charged. And so whatever you do that's usually for the good of your country will therefore be judged based on your actions to start aligning with other countries and having factions around you. So you might maybe invest in workers or military and things like that, but then your neighbouring countries will start to see you as a threat and therefore start to act more aggressively towards you. And if you cause a trade deal in one area, then it starts to offend the other. And what you're trying to do is to decide, do I want to try and be peaceful and go quietly into the night, making sure that you've not annoyed everyone and you can stay alive, not realising that some other teams might be betraying you and teaming up together because they formed an alliance. Or you could be quite ruthless and stitch up certain countries like a chicken, or you could form strong alliances and then go into battle together against other people. It's all up to you, and it's whether or not you want to rule with your head, your heart, your grace, or do you want to be like a tyrant? And every decision you make, it was really interesting seeing all of the different scales of things just tilt and balance out in front of you, which made me kind of sit there and ponder on certain things much longer than I care to admit. So yeah, King's Dilemma Chronicles, really interesting. I'd like to understand more about how this all kind of plays out long term, but the demo definitely wet my whistle. And there you have it. 7 puzzle games that will hopefully be of interest to you, at least one of them. Thanks for watching. Comment down below if you've got anything else that you found in Steam Next Fest, because sadly this time around my time was of the essence, so I didn't get to dive deep like I like to. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.